I've just created 6 new faceless YouTube niches that literally do not exist yet. And I've validated that they're cheap, beginner-friendly, and have high revenue potential. But I don't have time to make these channels myself. So if you're watching this video, I am challenging you to make these channels. So take notes and get ready, because I'm going to show you exactly how you can make a channel in these new niches work, and show you how much money you could make from each of them using these Excel models, which you can get access to at the link in the description. Police audit videos are super popular on YouTube, but they need you to be somewhere in person, risk your personal safety, and they need you to be on camera. So instead, let's take the concept of auditing people performing a job and put it into an affordable, faceless YouTube niche context. Enter customer services crossed with audits, crossed with pranks. The idea here is to test customer services from famous companies like Amazon, Apple, or even YouTube itself, and ask them loads of ridiculous questions like, can you help me with my homework? Or which of these phones do you think will get me laid the most? Or can you help me get access to GTA 6 early? If you test enough people, you'll get some really silly reactions through online chats or on phone calls, which should be entertaining for viewers. This video concept works really well for 3 reasons. Firstly, it's comedic, so it's accessible to everyone. Secondly, it's story-driven, since as the conversation unfolds, the viewer is waiting to see what the customer service person will say next. This will give you really good viewer retention in each video, helping you go viral. And thirdly, everyone can relate to the triggering experience of dealing with customer services and how bad they are. This means you can capture a massive audience spanning all genders, age groups, and countries. There's also a really easy way to clickbait to guarantee you'll go viral in this niche. Check this out. Let's say you make a video auditing Apple's customer service. You could title the video something like, Apple Genius said I'd get laid if I got a new smartwatch, and he was right. Or you could make a video about ordering some supplements off Amazon, and the title could be, Amazon customer service said these pills would make my bigger. There's just a lot that you can play around with here. Okay, so revenue potential wise, this is a tricky one. I'm going to benchmark this against people who make videos of their conversations with ChatGPT, as it's a similar concept and format. So popular channels doing this, like Plinko, get around 130k views per video. Then for the RPM, it's probably going to be trash, unless you focus on talking about companies that sell really expensive products, like if your videos were all about covering investment companies or trading exchanges. But that's probably too niche to get you enough views, so likely you'll stick with companies like Amazon. So factoring that in gives us an RPM of around $3. Now, I don't think you're going to get any sponsors on this type of content because it's too controversial, so I'm going to assume 0 for that. These videos are pretty easy to make with minimal editing needed, so you can easily post 15 videos a month, which results in 7.6k a month in revenue and 6.5k in profit. Not bad. Oh, and it's worth mentioning that those numbers don't actually consider that a lot of your channel views will accumulate over time, since videos you posted 3 months ago might still get legacy views today. So it's reasonable to assume that in any given month, you'll earn an extra 20 or 30% from legacy videos on your channel. Next we have texting stories, which have been a thing for years. I even own one of the biggest texting story channels on YouTube myself, but the iMessage format hasn't been used anywhere else on YouTube until now. This is the easiest and lowest budget channel you could possibly start as a beginner at creating faceless YouTube channels. This channel, Bubble Brian, is the only channel on YouTube doing this. He does 60-second summaries of trending topics on Reddit like gaming, gooning, and other internet-themed nonsense. But no one has taken this format yet and used it elsewhere, so this is the perfect time to start a channel covering other news topics like AI, sports, anime, esports, Disney, Marvel, war. Just remember that the only people who will really watch a video in this format are probably under the age of 25, so don't try and target a mature audience or cover topics which young people are not interested in. The great thing about this format is it's incredibly easy to make these videos too. Like, you can simply summarize a news article or Reddit post with AI, change the intro to something catchy, then have 11 Labs voice it. Then for the edit, there are a bunch of iMessage simulator apps that you could use, or if you want a more clean and professional look, you could just create a template in something like DaVinci or Premiere Pro. Now, you aren't going to make crazy money from any one channel doing this because the view potential is constrained given the awkward visual format. So I'd expect you to be in the range of 50k views per video if you choose a popular topic. However, production costs would literally just be an 11 Labs subscription, so making these videos is basically free. The really short video length will only give you an RPM of around $1, and that's being optimistic, but given it literally only takes you like 60 minutes to make one of these videos, you could very easily build out a whole Bubble Brief channel franchise across 3 or 4 different topics, and as you can see from this model, you could easily make up to $2,500 a month per channel. In 2017, Austin McConnell released this banger of a video called What to Do If Your Parachute Fails. Not only does it have 22 million views, making it the best performing video on his channel, it's twice as popular as any other video he's made. So 22 million views tells you something really important. This format and concept has massive potential to be its own genre of YouTube videos. But I've scoured through YouTube and no one has copied this style yet at all. So if you break the video down into its fundamental concept of what to do if your something happens, we get a lot of room to spin off into different video ideas, like what to do if your car brakes fail. The key to Austin's original video is urgency. So whatever situation you choose, you have to make it feel very urgent and intense, and that momentum will keep viewers engaged for 3 or 4 minutes. Austin's video also proves that you don't need fancy animation in the traditional sense. As long as you have a few scrappy drawings to drag around the screen, which today could easily be generated with ChatGPT or Midjourney, you're good to go. And when it comes to views and revenue potential, I'd say it has great short to medium term prospects. There's definitely massive viral potential for each video, but the actual format itself probably doesn't have a long shelf life. So you might get a couple million views on each video, but I'd expect after 6 to 12 months of posting like 3 videos a month, the format would get a bit stale. But that's still gonna get you over $10,000 per month if you hit 1 million views per video. Pexto makes viral YouTube videos about famous YouTuber drama. His video concepts can be broken down like this. When famous person messes with scary people, or most loved versus most hated famous person, or how a type of video determines something important. Summarizing video concepts like this makes it really easy for you to put it into a new context. For example, this new channel is copying Pexto's video concepts and thumbnail style, but he's transposed it into being all about chefs. So he could make a video called When a Contestant Messed with Gordon Ramsay. Now, since this chef spin-off has already been done, I suggest you look at other areas. So you could easily look at things like actors or athletes or musicians or gamers. And if you think it's too much effort to come up with these concepts yourself, then that's totally fine, because you can just use TubeLab to automate the entire process. TubeLab is literally the only YouTube niche helper tool you're ever going to need, and has hundreds of current viral YouTube title formulas loaded up for you to experiment with and figure out what will work in your niche. I've linked TubeLab in the description if you want to check it out. Anyway, if you pick a topic to put into that Pexto format, then make sure that topic hasn't been covered 1,000 times already, then you'll get hundreds of thousands of views per video, but on a relatively low RPM of around $3 to $4. Economics and finance is a niche everyone loves because the RPM is insanely high, but because of that, it is quite oversaturated with lots of generic and sterile essay-based economics videos. So this new channel idea that I have for you is a crossover between Fireship and finance. Fireship is a tech bro YouTuber who delivers high-impact, fast-paced, informative and comedic videos about software engineering and AI with a focus on current world events and news. His writing style is cynical and his editing is a mix of memes and sometimes actually useful visuals. This makes some really technical topics like this video about SQLite accessible to the normies who don't have the technical literacy to understand a fancy explanation of the topic. Fireship's writing style and video format is relatively untested on YouTube in other niches and could easily be transferred into other areas such as finance and economics, which are also technically complex areas the average person doesn't understand, and therefore a meme-driven simplistic writing style would make economics suddenly accessible to the average person, so you'd be able to get hundreds of thousands of views per video. Here's an example edit I made of it just to show you what this channel could be like. Economic forecasts are produced by a few different groups and they aim to achieve different things. Central banks produce forecasts so that they have a quantitative rationale to make changes to monetary policy. Okay, so how much money could you actually make from this? Well, we know from other major YouTubers who cover things like finance, investing, and economics that videos between 10 and 20 minutes long usually have an RPM between $10 and $20, assuming a mainly English-speaking audience. But our Fireship and finance video only has a 4-minute format, so we're probably going to lose mid-rolls here. So using my RPM calculator, it looks like we're going to get to around $4 to $6. But what about views? Economics and finance isn't really trending in the same way that AI is, which has given Fireship a massive boost over the last 18 months, so we can't really use that as a strong gauge of view potential. But what we can do is look at the biggest finance and economics themed channels like Economics Explained and How Money Works, and guess conservatively that maybe we can capture 25% of those views that those guys have. Now, you shouldn't expect to get to a similar level since YouTube has an incumbent bias, meaning it favors existing channels over new ones. So How Money Works averages roughly 800k views per video, so I'm going to assume our peak average on this channel is going to be 200k views per video, posting about 8 times per month, which in our base scenario gets us about $8,632 in monthly revenue from AdSense and sponsors, and a profit of 5.7k after tax, assuming $325 per video production costs. Now, that's assuming you outsource to a good writer and editor who can actually understand the topics and be funny. Obviously, you could do this all by yourself if you really wanted to. This next niche idea is a long play. Ask yourself, when is the best time to start a new YouTube channel in a particular topic or interest? Right before that topic becomes really popular, so that when it does, your channel is the first to blow up. Enter Warhammer 40k. Henry Cavill is working with Amazon to develop multiple Warhammer properties over the next few years, and the minute that first trailer drops in 2026, Warhammer will have finally hit the mainstream and have an eruption in interest on YouTube. I'm not talking about painting figurines or playing video games here. I mean TV show analysis, updates, speculation, and comic book lore. Setting the groundwork for this a couple of months before the first trailer or first episode airs primes your channel for instant growth. And yes, I'm aware there are already Warhammer channels on YouTube, but this idea is with a new focus, specifically targeting the potential new TV and movie-driven audience Warhammer will attract. So that's actually a different niche to the existing fanbase who like the games, the books, and painting 3D models. There's also plenty of other channels that you can use as templates for what kind of content format to go with and what kind of aesthetic would work. There's channels like Emergency Awesome, who specialize in superheroes and integrating lore commentary into his videos, which are about TV shows, episodes, and trailers and movies. There's IP-specific channels like this one about Invincible, which blew up earlier this year, and you could also model your channel after one of the many channels that are 100% dedicated to Star Wars, since it's a similar kind of fan base and has a similar level of depth of lore to make content from. Okay, so what about money? Well, views-wise, this is going to be really hard to predict since it depends entirely on the success of the first Warhammer show, but there's obviously a lot of demand because from Amazon's anthology series, Secret Level, the Warhammer animated episode is by far the best rated and the most watched, and the latest Warhammer game sold over 7 million copies. So the hype is real. I think it's pretty reasonable to assume that if the TV show starts well, we'll see a similar level of interest on YouTube to what Game of Thrones had at its peak, and even today there are still channels like this one making character analysis videos for Game of Thrones characters that get millions of views several years after the show has finished. And guys, listening to my niche ideas is one thing, but actually understanding how to build a content strategy that will guarantee that your channel goes viral is the main thing that you need to learn, which is exactly what I teach over on School. And the best part is it actually works like it did for our member here, Noman, who launched and monetized the channel in 8 days and is now making $200 a day on his very first YouTube channel. So if you're serious about growing real YouTube channels ethically, you can join us by clicking the link in the top of the description.